My name is Olimna, and it's always a pleasure to have you with us. Now let's take a closer look at the news. President Paul Kagame has called on leaders to carry out their duties with caution and wisdom to ensure development reaches all Rwandans without leaving anyone behind. This message was conveyed by the head of state after presiding over the swearing ceremony of several officials who were recently appointed to various positions. Sergeant Nore kicks us off tonight.
The head of state, His Excellency Paul Kagame, first received the oath of Dr. Patrice Mugenzi, who was sworn in as the Minister of Local Government, and Dr. Mark Bagabe Chubahiro, who was sworn in as the Minister of Agriculture and Animal Resources. Bonaventure Ruberwa followed, taking the oath as the Deputy Prosecutor General. President Paul Kagame, who is also the Commander-in-Chief of the Rwanda Defense Force, also received the oath of Major General Alex Kagame, the Chief of Staff of the country's reserve force. The President emphasized the weight of leadership responsibilities and how they should be carried out in the interest of the public rather than for personal gain. These sorts of responsibilities and those of many others who have passed through here are responsibilities we should not take lightly and should be cautious about because they require us to serve other Rwandans. That is, all Rwandans, leaving no one behind, and serving them in all ways possible. President Paul Kagame noted that some leaders swear into office with good intentions and competence, but once in power, they act contrary to their duties, stating that such behavior will not be tolerated in Rwanda. That is a habit that we have been eradicating over the years, a habit that dug its roots into the politics we eradicated 30 years ago. Therefore, there is no way such a thing can be tolerated now among people with heavy responsibilities that concern the entire country. President Kagame also touched on the importance of teamwork in leadership, saying that working alone is not effective, as good leadership involves considering what others under one's leadership are doing. He also addressed the need for accountability in leadership, mentioning that there are still weaknesses in following through on responsibilities and that leaders must put in much more effort. Dr. Patrice Mugenzi becomes the Minister of Local Government, replacing Jean-Claude Musabyimana, who had been appointed to this position at the end of 2022. He continued in this role in 2024 when the new government was sworn in August. Dr. Mugenzi was previously the Director General of the Rwanda Cooperative Agency and is an expert in profitable agricultural management. Dr. Mark Chubahiro Bagabe, who is now the Minister of Agriculture and Animal Resources, replaces Ildefonso Musafiri. He was previously the Director General of the Rwanda Inspectorate Competition and Consumer Protection Authority. Prior to that, Dr. Bagabe led several institutions, including the Rwanda Agriculture and Animal Resources Development Board and the Rwanda Standards Board. Regarding both ministries, that of local government as well as the Ministry of Agriculture and Animal Resources, President Paul Kagame reminded the new leaders of their crucial role in the country's development, expressing confidence in their ability to fulfill their responsibilities effectively.
Thank you, Serge, for the details. Now, moving ahead, members of the Liberal Party from the Northern Province, including the youth, have undergone training aimed at equipping them with the skills necessary for self-employment facilitated by the political party PL. Enora Gladys with more on this.
Participants of this political party who attended these trainings emphasized that they have learned new strategies they will be using to become entrepreneurs by starting on a small capital they have.
I've learned a lot. It's all about starting a business, and we all have the consequences of, like, the issue of starting a business without the capital. So being here, we learn about how you can start by touching an idea of the business before thinking of the capital. With the idea, you never know where the capital would come from.
Have acquired skills that will lead us to start our own businesses from small capital, and we have acquired qualities of a good entrepreneur. A good entrepreneur is someone who is self-oriented, who is self-confident and targetful. We have acquired some other skills that we read as to save. Saving is the best point that will help us. The other youth should have to be committed. Self-commitment will lead them to their developmental skills. Even their capital will increase. Referring to the National Development Strategy, NST, it means they should work hard, they should make saving. Not only saving, they should also work in order to change others who have some myths about development. We should start by the smallest up to the highest level.
The first Vice President of PL, Theogene Mnyangeyo, points out that the aim is to put in practice the government's program to put the citizen first and also support them by training them how to become self-employers.
The
role we have to play in the government's program of developing self-employed people is to train them starting by business ideas they have. So we train them how to create a business from their ideas that will benefit them.
During the latest deputy elections that took place in July, the political party, PL, got 5 positions of their members in parliament and 3 positions in the women department. Enora Gladys, RwandaTV News.
Thank you, Gladys, for the details. Now moving ahead, as livestock product prices continue to rise across markets, the Ministry of Agriculture and Animal Resources is implementing measures to boost livestock production and stabilize prices. We have more on this. At the Kimirongo market in Gasabo district, a diverse selection of food products from various livestock breeds is available. Traders and consumers alike acknowledge that the prices of different types of meat are on the rise. Beef is being purchased at 5,000 Rwandan francs per kilo, while another type of beef is priced at 7,000 Rwandan francs. Chicken meat is 4,000 Rwandan francs per kilo, and fish is 6,500 Rwandan francs. However, fish comes in various categories, and when we buy it wholesale, it can be expensive, which is why we sell it at a higher price. We also adjust the pricing from time to time, ranging between 5,000 and 4,800 Rwandan francs, depending on how much we purchased it for in Nyabugogo. The Ministry of Resources said that one reason for the limited availability of beef in the market is that most of the cows being slaughtered are milking cows rather than bulls, resulting in fewer cattle available for beef production. Dr. Solange Uituze, Deputy Director General of Animal Resources Development at the Rwanda Agricultural Board, emphasizes that efforts are underway to increase the supply of cows that are raised specifically for meat production. We have started considering how to source feedlot cows, specifically those bred for meat production, because it is a feasible approach. With this method, you can plan to bring in a certain number of cows, feed them for about 3 months, and then be able to harvest meat from them. This is what we are doing to ensure a steady supply of meat from cows within a period of 3 to 5 months. This type of farming will be undertaken by the private sector. As for the Rwanda Agricultural Board and the Ministry of Agriculture and Animal Resources, we have started importing semen from cattle breeds known for their meat production. We are working with associations specializing in beef cattle to ensure that we can reliably obtain a certain quantity of meat from these cows in a given period. The Ministry of Agriculture and Animal Resources states that although chicken meat is the most affordable globally, this is not the case in Rwanda. Consequently, efforts are being made to boost the production of meat and egg-laying chickens. Additionally, the development of fish farming is being promoted to encourage home-based fish breeding, along with initiatives for rabbit farming to enhance overall production. To other matters, individuals with hearing and speech impairment share that they participate in vocational training programs that empower them to find and create employment opportunities. The Rwanda National Union of the Deaf calls on various institutions to provide opportunities and instill confidence in people with this disability, emphasizing that they are equally capable of performing a wide range of jobs. We have more. Irankunda Yusuf, a 24-year-old from Nyamirambo in Nyarugenge district, lives with hearing and speech impairments. After high school, he pursued vocational training in hospitality, focusing on serving coffee and drinks in hotels and restaurants. We interviewed him with the assistance of sign language interpreter Jean D'Amour. I'm not limited to serving coffee only. I also offer tea, juices, milkshakes, and more. Additionally, I can provide a variety of coffee and tea-related products. However, in my business, I specialize in making high-quality coffee to attract more clients. Irankunda Yusuf is among 306 individuals who completed hospitality management training at the Rwanda Institute of Cooperatives, Entrepreneurship and Microfinance in partnership with the USAID Hanga Kazi project. Of the graduates, 22% are people with hearing and speech impairments. RISEM's managing director, Mukurira Olivier, emphasizes that individuals with disabilities are equally capable and should be given opportunities. In this institution, we also accommodate people with disabilities. We have made efforts to provide interpreters for them while they study, ensuring they can learn alongside others rather than having separate classes. Mukamazimhaka Sauda, the deputy chairperson of the Rwanda National Union of the Deaf, urges various institutions to provide opportunities and instill confidence in individuals with hearing impairments, emphasizing that they are capable of performing a wide range of jobs. Honestly, people with hearing and speech impairments work just as hard as everyone else. Our request is for our partners is to understand that we are no different from others and to provide the same services and opportunities to people with disabilities as they do for everyone else. Last year, the National Council of Persons with Disabilities published a Rwandan Sign Language Dictionary aimed at assisting individuals with hearing and speech disabilities as well as others who face challenges in accessing services that require interpreters. To other matters, the BSC company celebrated its 15th anniversary of delivering internet services to the Rwandan population, highlighting its substantial contributions to the country's technological landscape. Let's hear more from Sandra Saula.
CEO of BSC, Gilbert Kainamura, emphasized the company's dedications to not only maintaining its existing services, but also expanding them with cutting-edge features that meet the evolving needs of users. His vision is not to ensure that BSC remains at the forefront of technological advancement in Rwanda, continually adapting to the dynamic digital landscape.
So as the market trend shifts from just internet to other solutions, things like artificial intelligence, big data, IoT, all those are new solutions that we have not been into, and those are new markets that we are trying to tap into in the future. So as we innovate, as we enable innovation, we are planning to enter into other markets, and we are focusing to deliver this on this market and beyond Rwanda into other countries where this is needed.
Anton Severa, the government chief innovation officer at LISA, mentioned that they want to elevate Rwanda's internet infrastructure over the next 5 years, aiming for a level of connectivity that would be both impressive and beneficial to all Rwandans.
So in 5 years ahead, we are preparing for 5G. 5G is the successor of 4G LTE, and we see more speed that can be made available. We're seeing more and more fiber being laid out, being deployed to the homes. So the next year will be to increase the speed, to increase the quality of service, to move towards now 5G and different applications that we can use on top of that broadband connectivity.
As BSC continues on this path of growth and innovation. It remains committed to empowering Rwandans through technology, thereby contributing to Rwandans' broader goals of sustainable development and economic prosperity. Saula Sandra Tumukunde, RTV News.
Turning now to Rwanda's financial market, we'll focus on bonds, looking at the essentials of bond investing, key differences from stocks and more. Earlier this week, we spoke with the CEO of the Rwanda Stock Exchange to learn more on this. Take a look. On this segment, we are going to talk about economic matters, diving into Rwanda's financial market. And today's discussion is specifically going to speak about bonds and Rwanda's financial market. As I was saying, we'll be exploring what are bonds, who can invest in bonds, how do they differ from stocks, and and the products available on the Rwanda Stock Exchange market, including green bonds and more that we will uncover in a few minutes to come. Joining me today is Pierre Celestin Rwabukumba, is the CEO of the Rwanda Stock Exchange. Welcome to the studio.
Thank you.
Yeah. So today we wanted to paint the picture a bit clearer. Someone may be there. We have seen people issuing bonds, companies issuing bonds lately. There is the BRD, but there is also another company called the Prime Energy. But would you clearly explain to us what are bonds and how do they differ from stocks in terms of investment and risk?
You know, we've had a few issuances, of course, recently. This time it has attracted a lot of attention because they are coming from private issuers, not government. People are used normally to the government issuing bonds in our market. People are used to treasury bonds from the central bank. It's the central bank actually that issues on behalf of government, but normally those bonds belong to government. So a bond really normally is a debt like any other. So in the capital markets, as you know, there are two sides to the coin. There are capital seekers, those are the entrepreneurs, including government, or private issuers, which are companies who are looking for money to invest in their businesses, to invest in their projects. So one may choose to issue, to look for a debt from a bank or somewhere else. But now in the capital markets, most of the time people who are using capital markets, they go for a bond. A bond, like they call it a bond because it binds you. You know, you have to pay back. So now the issuer or the entrepreneur, including government or those private issuers we've seen recently, they go into the market to look for fixed income. They call also them fixed income. They go looking for a debt. So they issue an instrument called a bond, which binds them with the investors who lend the money to them. So normally a bond has, that debt has a time period that elapses. In our market, we have bonds that go for between 3 years and 20 years. We have 3-year bonds, 5-year bonds, 7, 10, 15, and 20. Most of those have been issued by government. Many bonds, actually in trillions of Rwanda francs. So those bonds, when they are issued, they mature at one point. So during the lifetime of that period, the buyers of those bonds, they get paid periodic interests. Normally, typically they do get paid every 6 months, a certain interest. So the interests vary depending on how long you are holding the bond or the maturity of the bond. So if you have a 3-year bond, it pays less than a 5-year bond, because if I lend you my money, you are holding it for the five years until it gets to maturity, then you give me the principal, I have to get you to pay me more. So that's what happens when companies are issuing bonds or government. So now, so what has been happening in our markets, the government has been issuing, private issuers now are also starting to issue more and more in the market because the market is deepening day by day. So, and the people have been buying them. So the interest payments so far on the bonds, we see in our markets, they vary between around 11% and 13.5%. But actually, we've had a recent bond which is paying 15%. A lot of people did not get to know about it because it was a small bond by a small issuer. A company called Mahui Grain Millers. They are in the business of doing kaunga. You know, they do maize production. You know, and they sell to the general public. So that company came to borrow from the public markets, the bonds, for 5 years, and they are paying 15%. We have this one of Prime, which is ongoing. going. Actually, the issue is closing tomorrow. It's still in the primary market. They are closing tomorrow. They are also paying good interest rates. And BRD one, I think those are the few bonds we have in the corporate world, but the ones of government pay even more. So that's how they work. Bonds are debt instruments where you pay the principal at the end of the 5-year period or 10-year period or whatever time you agree with the investors. And then now, during that period, you pay interest to the investors. Now, we go back now to the shares and the difference between shares or stocks. What we call a stock here is the shares, really. So the shares, a company can issue debt to the public. That means you are lending them the money. But when you are issuing shares as a company, you are issuing shares to the general public so that they can and they work with you. So they are co-owners with you in the company. So that means where the bond, the issuer of the bonds, they pay interest every year to the bond holders or their investors. The companies that issue shares to the general public, for them, they share in the interests. A share, you are buying a part of the company. Depending on how much money you have put in, you can buy 1%, 2%, depending on how much money you have. And for the bond, you are lending to the company. So now, in the bond situation, companies don't call bondholders to annual general meetings. You know, they are just lenders to the company, like a bank can lend them money. You see, so they have nothing to do with the decision making in their company or anything else. All they need is to get their payments and by annual payments, and at the maturity they get back their money. But now for the shareholders, they have the right to everything of the company. So they share in a good and bad. So you are together until you sell your shares in the company. So that's the difference between those two. Coming back
a little bit on what you said, you've been saying companies investing. Who is eligible to invest in bonds, and can individuals, a person, invest like other big companies? What does it take?
Well, the bonds can be invested by anybody because if you look at the government bonds, for example, you can purchase bonds directly or indirectly. But the direct way is whereby government, central bank announces they issue bonds every month now to the public, and the minimum amount people invest each bond is 100,000 Rwanda francs. Anyone who can afford 100,000 Rwanda francs can buy a government bond in Rwanda. Now, even the corporate bonds we see there, they have their denominations, most of them in 100,000. But sometimes for corporate bonds, to limit people in the primary market, or sometimes they are targeting institutional investors or high net worth individuals, they put a minimum amount to invest, like maybe 10 million or 20 or 100 million, it depends. But in the secondary market, the 100,000 still applies. People who are bought in the primary market, they can sell their bonds in secondary access into the market, although you can access a bunch of bonds through managed products. If you see an institution like Aranite in Rwanda or Beka Aguka Fund, those funds, which are collective investment schemes, they go into the market, they buy these instruments, they buy the bonds, they hold them on behalf of investors. So investors come buy units in those funds, which are managed, but the units go by in aggregate manner, but people are buying units in those collective investment schemes. It's possible, or mutual funds, for those who understand that language. Yeah.
And also on that, how has the bond market in Rwanda evolved, and what impact do inflation, exchange rates, and government policy have on the bond market?
Okay, well, the impact of that, it's very wide. It's not easy to quantify, by the way, but if you can use the general principles of quantifying how impact is done. So now, if we go to fundraising, so far this market has been able to raise around $1.9 billion, I think, in the bonds market alone. That's quite a big number. It's almost it's like 3 trillion or 2 trillions already. Rwanda francs has been raised. That kind of money, if you raise it, if government raises money like that, they go build roads. So now the trickle-down effect of that, or the multiplier effect of that, can be very huge. Why? people who are buying bonds, they are gaining interest. And that the money they save and they make through investing in that bond themselves, it serves them to save or invest in other things. So now if government does raise money to invest in the general business or general purpose of government to build infrastructure, that infrastructure has ramification effects also. You know, so there's taxation, there's employment of the projects they invest in, because every bond you put in the market, you know, it's going towards a specific project. You understand? So that one, it's a taxation, employment, and savings in general for the general public. But the quantification of that is really, it depends on how much money can turn around in an economy. If you can do the math, if you have $2 billion invested in an economy, what that can do. You know, so that's how you can calculate that in general, if you want to see the quantum of what the raising of that money has done in the market. Yeah.
Thank you very much for the insights that you have shared on bonds. That was Pierre Celestin Rwabukumba from the Rwanda Stock Exchange Market. Thank you for speaking to Rwanda Television.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Now to Rwanda's sports industry. Rwandan teams have showcased exceptional skills and determination on day 2 of the Rwanda Mountain Gorilla Rally. These are ranking among the top 10 overall, just a day away to the end of this competition. William Evans has more.
Like day one, it was also not just about the competition, but a celebration of passion, speed, skill, and the fearlessness of different riders in this competition. We talked to some of the riders before breaking a sweat for the last round that crowns day 2.
We want to break the record for ARC wins consecutively. We want to break the records for consecutive wins for the international rallies that around the Africa Championship, you know, so Rwanda being one. If we win this one, it will be 3 in a row. So far, so good towards our hat-trick, but it's not over yet, so we wait.
So far, so good. The track is good, and the best thing about going almost last is that you find that other drivers clean the road. They show you, like you watch their tires, where their tires passed.
We hope we sustain the lead ahead of Gakwaya to clinch the Rwanda Rally Championship for 2024. We're having some troubles with our shock absorbers, the rear ones. We hope to fix it now and to continue the same way.
So far we are not doing so bad. We are trying to do a serious chase up. Here there is Queen, there is the guy with the N10, this new one.
From the time this competition started, there has been 0 accidents recorded, although several teams have faced technical challenges with their cars, with some being forced to not complete day 2. The president of Rwanda Automobile Club says this is common and wants to stop drivers from continuing with the race tomorrow.
No challenge really. So it's our sport, the nature of our sport. So as you have seen, some of the cars face technical challenges, but that happens in motorsport. So they will try to repair their cars. If they are capable of finishing by the end of the day, they can race again tomorrow. But other than that, everything is perfect.
Due to time limitations, the race was reduced to only 7 sections, whose overall results are as follows. Day 2 ended with Patel Karan from Kenya in position number 1, followed by Mukula Mike Jr. from Uganda in the 2nd position, after beating Davite from Rwanda, who maintained this position for the 6 sections, but missed section 7 due to his car getting technical issues. Kananjili Christian is in the 3rd place, while Sanchania from Kenya and Mtebinasa from Uganda are in the 4th and 5th positions, respectively. This means 3 Rwandan teams are among the top 10 overall, Kananjili in position 3, Gakwaya Jean Claude in the 6th position, and Queen in position 10, and is the only female driver in the competition. William Evans, Mutabazi, RTV News.
And this story marks the end of tonight's bulletin. Thank you for tuning in to today's broadcast. Have a blessed weekend.